To me, anger is a mask, is one of the many masks that we wear. And invariably, anger to me masks fear. Fear of something, whether it's something that's going to be taken away from you or an actual threat. When I talk to young guys, I tell them the first thing that you have to understand is what fear is that anger reacting to. Because if you address the fear, then you can address the anger, you can do something positive about it. My name's Michael, and I help young boys and men build emotional muscle to help them lift others up rather than drag them down. The sign of true positive masculinity is this ability to actually lift others up. And to lift others up, you need to have that compassion, the empathy, the understanding, the emotional intelligence that so often we just don't allow ourselves access to.
With Mike, you just know that he's there for you. For a while there, I never really had a good father figure, and Mike was there for me. He showed me what it means to be a good bloke. I've always been more on the sensitive side, so to speak, and Mike's taught me that that's okay. And I appreciate that a lot.
When I joined the Navy at 16, it was really to get away from my dad. I mean, to be honest, I never heard the word love come from my dad. Heard a lot of other words come from him, but never that one. He told me that I would not amount to anything, that I was an idiot, that I would never amount to anything better than a street sweeper. He became an alcoholic. Part of that was obviously the violence. You just didn't say no to Dad. And that stunted my emotional growth. I was quite physically violent with two of my siblings when I was young. When I first joined the Navy in 1977, it was a hyper-masculine environment. It fed my dark side because I wanted to be part of that. I didn't want to be excluded. I admit this with shame, the things that I participated in to be one of the guys and the damage that we did to other people because of that, you know, particularly to women. And I abandoned my daughter and my wife when my daughter was 2.5 years old, and I had no contact whatsoever with her. Fast forward several years, I was stationed in Hong Kong when I met the love of my life, Catherine.
When I first met Michael in Hong Kong, he seemed a little bit aloof and cold. I come from a very tactile family, lots of hugs. My dad was in the Air Force during the war. He had an impression on Michael in the way that you could be strong and also have that gentle side.
But despite all the love, Michael still struggled with an underlying anger.
There was one time I remember when I asked him to hang out the washing, and next thing you know, he was punching the wall, and I didn't know what to do.
For the first time in the years we've been together, at that stage, almost 10 years, she was looking at me in fear. And that was a shock to my system because I hadn't seen that before. And that was not a place that I wanted her to be. There was a time in 2008 when I was in the darkest place I'd been since I was a kid. And I was driving over the West Gate Bridge in Melbourne. I just suddenly thought, what would it be like if I stopped the car, jumped over the railing and just fell. And Catherine's face popped up in my mind, and I knew that I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that to her. So next day I went straight to the doctor. Counselling was hard for me because I had this idea of counselling meant that you were weak. The way that I see it these days is talking to somebody is actually not a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of courage. When I retired from the Navy a few years ago, I thought that I could make a contribution by turning my experience to something positive. And Men's Link allowed me to do that, allowed me to become a mentor. As part of that mentoring program, I've mentored Dan, who recently moved to Sydney.
So how do you grow that big, luscious moustache?
3 words to describe Michael: beefy, resilient, trustworthy. That would probably be the number 1 on that.
You could see the light shining off the luscious moustache, couldn't you, mate?
Yes. That's why I'm trying to grow more of it here and there.
My parents had separated a couple of years beforehand. If it wasn't for Michael, I definitely would have been a different child. Yeah, I would have been very angry. I always feel as if I'm one with the pack, in their words. Long time no see.
We have been through an awful lot, Michael and I, and yet I am inspired by the way he has become a better man, and he's just got more affectionate as the years have gone on.
I just want to show young guys that Where you start doesn't dictate where you end up. With just a little bit of guidance from the right people, the road can be a happy one.